So, my name is Pankaj Tripathi. I am co-founder of GTMDialogues. GTMDialogues is basically a brainchild of Saurav Lohti, who decided to start it some 4 years ago. He works with Pentathlon Ventures. So his idea was to, instead of letting founders, instead of going to founders, allow them a community where all these SaaS founders can come together, talk about how things are changing, how things are evolving, and build a community. So GTM Dialogues is a community just built around the idea of shared knowledge, shared resources, and shared growth, actually. So GTM Dialogues, this is one of the formats that we do, webinars, where we invite industry leaders in their niche and sectors and share things on how things are changing and evolving. But certain other things that we do, we pick a particular city and we go uh, to that particular city, maybe Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Mumbai. These are just, and yes, Hyderabad. These are certain cities where we go and we kind of pick one day and we do a series of events there. Think of these events, it could be a meetup of GTM leaders, meetup of founders, and we have speaker-led sessions. And we have this newly adopted workshop models where we, similar to this webinar, we bring together some of the industry leaders and they share the key insights, actionable insights from their professional experience. We have a founders community over WhatsApp. I would encourage all of you to join that. It's a very active community. We hardly have to moderate it because people interact within themselves and are very helpful people. This top 1% leaders network, where we have people like Veda and Nikhil who share things about, again, how things are evolving in GTM space. And content and playbooks, we have a very vibrant website where we keep sharing playbooks in how things are evolving in GTM.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned, we choose one city a month. This time we are doing a detour in Pune, but we keep everything to these 6 cities: Pune, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad, and Chennai. We have a huge network of founders, like almost more than 2,500 people in this network. We have also come up with something we call scale-up practices. The idea is to not just give people the gyan, the knowledge about things are happening. It's also about understanding their problems and giving them a practical solution. For example, if we are currently running two practices, one is inbound practice and the other is investment banking practice. In inbound marketing practice is run by me. I'm Saurabh Ahuja. We have the privilege to have Saurabh Ahuja as the CEO of investment banking practice. The idea is to bridge any sort of GTM gaps that the founders are having and help them with actionable insights. We have few more practices stack up in line in different aspects of GTM, operations, finance, and tech. I think if anyone is interested, we can discuss this after this webinar. Yeah, now hand it over to you, Sanjay.
Yeah. Awesome. We have some seasoned marketing leaders here who have been doing marketing for decades now, I must say. So, open question to the entire panel. So, over the last decade or so, what has changed in B2B marketing as a whole? I think, Mukil, if you want to kick us off.
Sure, thanks, Sanjay. Hey, everyone. Good evening. I think what we have been observing, at least over the last 1.5 years, is that the way marketing is being done itself is evolving at a very fast pace, and a total re-architecture of the systems and processes are required at this point in time, irrespective of the channel or irrespective of which industry you are focusing on or operating in. And just to pull a couple of examples, I think everybody would have read or by now have known about how AI search optimization is becoming more and more crucial. So that's just one example on how inbound in itself is very specifically evolving, where traffic is dropping. Your top of the funnel content might not be working out anymore. The number of searches that are happening on Google is coming down as well, and now people are slowly moving towards AI search optimization, where your content needs to show up for the relevant queries on LLMs. So that's just one simple example. And if we take outbound or your typical sales development workflows, couple of years back, this used to be more of a spray and pray approach, where we used to go after like thousands of accounts, send out emails, cold call them, and hope someone might book a meeting with you and turn into a pipeline. That has shifted a lot over the last 1 to 2 years, where now everything is becoming signal driven, intent driven, and with AI coming in on top of that, we are able to get sharper signals, we are able to personalize better, and we are able to get things done with very minimal number of accounts in itself, minimal number of right quality accounts. And I think overall, when we look at even marketing operations also, previously we need a bunch of folks to just manage tools, take up these ad hoc requests. But in very recent times, we have started building workflows. Platforms like Make.com, N8N, ChatGPT, all of these are revolutionizing how RevOps and marketing ops people operate. And I think when operation teams and operational processes are very tighter and very efficient, the GTM throughput also improves, proportionally. I think these are some of the changes that I've been seeing. So to put it in a nutshell, I think a complete re-architecture of the systems and processes are happening over the 1.5 years. And the way buyers behave has also changed. So we are just riding on that wave and trying to stay relevant with AI coming into the picture, specifically on the inbound end.
That was actually insightful. And I think Pankaj can add more to it from a way where he interacts with founders from time to time and understands what major shifts are going through when they are working internally and making changes. And yeah, Pankaj, what do you think is on founders' minds right now?
I would actually say that things have changed in last 2 years more than they have changed in 10 years before that. All thanks to the AI. Earlier, people used to have this approach, especially founders, that if you build a very good product, people will come for themselves, right? Good product sells. And similarly, if you create really good content, people will come, and you will have your sales funnel flowing through. You will have all the leads, and a lot of credit goes to Google. That it provided a search engine where you can just create very good high quality content, put it there. And it works for itself. I know so many businesses, their entire funnel is built just around SEOs and PPC, right? But it is changing a bit where you just don't have to cater to the SEO optimization, and how you don't have to just think about how to rank on Google. You also have to think about how you drive value to the reader, right? So thought leadership have become the more mainstream that it ever was, right? You have to have your personal thought in what you have to say. You have to have your expertise, and the kind of content that you are creating should speak for itself. Now people are smart enough to understand if you churn out content from any generative AI, ChatGPT, Cloud, or wherever, right? People are smart enough to just see through it. So it becomes even more crucial to write these thought leadership content pieces, create thought leadership wherever possible. It just doesn't have to be limited to your website and LinkedIn. It could be any wherever your audience lives, right? And just because of that, the distribution channels become even more crucial. As I said, earlier, it was if you create really good SEO optimized content, put it in a website, people will follow, right? But given the generative AI has become more and more strong, it is not the case. You have to find way to distribute what you are creating. Right now, a user don't even have to come to your website to know about you. They can just go on ChatGPT and ask all sorts of questions about your product, about your company, and they have it. on their fingertips. So, as Mukhil was mentioning, that AI search optimization is becoming more and more crucial. I would say that aligning a messaging, like, because these tools are not just scraping data from your website; they are scraping content from all over the internet. So, if you have any disparity in the messaging and positioning, for example, if you are saying anything on LinkedIn, but your website says anything else, or your G2 says anything else, right? It is not going to give a clear picture to your user. So like have a single story, simple story, and reiterate it everywhere. And yeah, ensure that it is reaching out to your audience as.
Yeah, definitely. I think less is more. It is something as we start and work towards building companies. I'm sure founders will take that as a takeaway. Veda, from your experience at Razorpay, ChargeBee, I think, can you talk more about how buyer behavior has changed in the past 2-3 years from your experience?
Yeah, sure. So I think one of the biggest things is from a brand perspective, if you're a B2B business, it's important not just to talk about your product, your service, your benefits, but also to address specific buyer moments of truth. I think that's important, especially because in a lot of B2B businesses, the categories they operate in, they're fairly niche. So the keyword search volumes wouldn't have really matured. And this was exactly the problem that we faced at Razorpay, right? At Razorpay, at least a few years ago, it's not peer-to-peer payments, right? It's B2B payments. You didn't have a lot of keyword search volume for people searching for payment gateway for e-commerce websites, payment gateway solutions for businesses, etc. So while those kinds of search volumes did exist, those were very small in number. So at Razorpay, we often had to zone out or zoom out and operate sometimes outside of the immediate realm of relevance of the business and look at certain business adjacencies, which were still relevant for the customer, which were still relevant for the buyer, the prospective buyer, so to speak. And we, through our keyword research, we picked out 3 thematic areas which were relevant: digital literacy, financial literacy, and compliance. So we used to create a lot of content around how can startups, for example, use LinkedIn for growing their B2B business? How can they use Instagram for growing their social media presence? From a financial literacy perspective, a lot of startup entrepreneurs did not know how to even read a P&L and a balance sheet, given that they came from a tech background, helping them understand how to create their first cash flow statement for their startups. From a compliance perspective, giving GST tax calculators for these startups. Now, you might come back and question, listen, Veda, what's the relevance for these content pieces to Razorpay's business? You're right, it's not a lot, but the relevance for these thematic keyword areas are very high for my target customer, right? My target customer at Razorpay is the entrepreneur persona. And I'm still getting the relevant entrepreneur persona in through my funnel by creating content such as these, because while it is not relevant to Razorpay's business, these pieces of content are super relevant for my target customer. It's just that I'm catching them at a different moment of truth, not when they're looking for a payment solution, but when they're looking to learn something which can help their startup grow. So the stance that we took was the larger entrepreneurship space. And within that, we picked out specific business adjacencies, which are not directly aligned to payments, but are slightly adjacent. And that was also because the keyword search volumes for these kinds of keywords were significantly larger than core dhanda-centric keyword search volumes, right? Searches around payment gateway, B2B payments for e-commerce companies, etc. And that was a huge learning for us. The other thing that also, the other aha moment that we also went through was at Healthify Me. I know that's a B2C example, but I think it's still, some of the learnings are super relevant and applicable in this context as well. So when we started off at Healthify Me, like everybody else, we thought that the millennial was our ideal customer persona. It turns out it wasn't. When we actually ran campaigns using Facebook, using Google Universal App campaigns, UAC campaigns, etc. When we looked at the data, and we were essentially letting AI actually run these campaigns for us. We had given the campaigns a particular goal, and through the pixel, they were auto-optimizing the campaigns depending on what cohorts were converting and what weren't. And we noticed that, unlike our previous assumption, the campaigns were not being run to the younger cohorts at all, because the younger cohorts were not converting. The younger folks were coming in using the app for free and not really buying any of the premium services, the weight loss plans which were available. It was only the older people from my age group, who were actually converting, because these people were less fit, they were more prone to lifestyle conditions, had a greater ability to pay. And that challenged our original hypothesis. So you know what, and we thought that the millennial was the ideal customer persona, but it turns out AI actually told us that the post-millennial older persona were the ICP for us. And that can happen for you as well as a startup founder. So I think as a startup founder, I think you shouldn't be married to your original ICP assumptions, and you should be open to the idea of those assumptions being challenged through data, through user behavior, and through AI. I hope that helps.
I think thanks for sharing those anecdotes from your previous experiences, right? And for the attendees who have joined, and you'd also get a chance to come on stage here and ask and pose questions to the leaders here. So stick around, and if you have any other questions you want to be answered in the middle, just post it on chat. I'll keeping a look at it. So I'll manage to bring it in the conversation. As Veda was mentioning, and the entire conversation itself was going around how was the buyer persona changing, and we managed to find a quote here, which you can see how before it was just 4 or 5 things that we had to worry about. Now a bunch of things that we start thinking of. Now I think I'll pose a question which might be something on everyone's mind, or maybe not. Is Google search dead? I think Pankaj, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I keep getting this question a lot, because SEO is kind of the pillar of inbound marketing, right? So all the audiences there, I want you to focus on these 2 screenshots, and the number that I want you to have most of the focus on is the number of total impressions. This is a screenshot of Google Search Console of the same brand, right? And if you look at the number, right, in March 2024, they were getting at around 250K total number of impressions in a month. And last month they did more than almost 2.4 million total impressions, right? But if you look at the number of clicks, right, it's almost 50% of increase. So if you see, the impressions grew by almost 10 times, but the number of clicks that they are getting just grew by 50%. So this is the point that I'm trying to make here. Is that right now how the things are evolving, especially in B2B space. I'm not sure whether in B2C there's a different story. People still are coming on Google and finding their way out. But in B2B right now, people don't even have to come to your website to know about your product. Like the days of best X software in 2025, or how to set up certain thing on the days of these blogs and top of the funnel kind of articles are gone. Like for example, if earlier, say in pre-2024 era, if you had to install Google Analytics on your website, you would probably go and search how to install Google Analytics on your website, and you will probably have Search Journal and several other websites, probably Neil Patel, HubSpot, and others, right? And you will probably go and read the entire article that starts with what is Google Analytics, what does Google Analytics help you analyze, and probably different metrics there, and then they come to the point how you can install, and there are 3-4 methods that you can go through. Right now you don't have to do that. All you can go to ChatGPT, Perplexity, or any your favorite tool. You can just put the query there that, hey, I have this website, this is the domain, and maybe if you have a subdomain as well, you can list down the entire query and ask a very specific question that, hey, I want to install Google Analytics using Google Tag Manager. How to go about that? And ChatGPT will give you exact answer of your query. So what is happening right now? The top of the funnel from SEO is kind of evaporating. If you look at any search query in B2B space, right? First of all, there is this AI overview, then there are certain FAQs related to your queries. Right now, Google has started putting some ads as well. So even if you are ranking in first page, the user probably is not going to click at all. It doesn't matter. Again, I would now, if you want, you can focus on 2 other numbers in this screenshot. One is average CTR, and one is the average position. See, the average position has also increased in June 2025, right, from almost 30 to 25. But the CTR, it's a drastic drop from 1.3 percentage. It has gone to 0.2 percentage. So things might not look very optimistic, Sanjay, but let me tell you, Google is not dead. Google is still relevant, and you have to continue creating content, even for top of the funnel, because that's where you build your authority, right? I think in a couple of like previous slide, I mentioned that your positioning and messaging have to be consistent on every platform that you are creating content on. So, which simply means that you still have to create top of the funnel just to build authority on that particular topic. If you are if you are a semiconductor company, right, and if you don't talk about how semiconductors are built and how they operate and everything, you are not going to have authority on that. So even for bottom of the funnel keywords, right, for example, best semiconductor company in India, right, you are not going to rank there because neither Google nor these AI search engines are going to see you as an authoritative source. So you have to create top of the funnel content, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel content as well. But at the same time, you have to know that you have uh, probably lesser chances than you had previously. So every content piece that you're talking about has to be value driven. You have to deliver value to your user, and at the same time you have to answer how you can help deliver that value. If you are not answering that, you are leaving money on the table. So value driven and how you deliver the value has to be answered at the same time, everywhere, consistently, without a miss.
I think I was just thinking of the way we were doing research, let's say 3-4 years ago, or just before we started using AI, right? We'd go on Google, search through multiple links, and try to see and pull all the data together. And now it is just like a search away, and we know, okay, our research is done about at least something or the pieces that we do. In that aspect, I feel it makes a lot of sense where I'm not telling Google is that search is that, but how we view it from how it was 3-4 years ago and now has definitely changed.
And that makes it more relevant what Mukil has to say, right? The search is changing from SEO to AI.
It's just a quick point that I wanted to add, just throw out some stats, right? I think there are 5, Google released its search results volumes officially for the first time, right? Because there was a lot of noise around 3 billion prompts happening in ChatGPT per month. Google released its search volumes. It's 5 trillion searches every given year, right? So here I'm making an assumption. Let's assume that a prompt equals a search, although it's not exactly the same. So just to put it in perspective, the total quantum of volume of searches happening in ChatGPT is less than 1%. It's 0.072 of the Google search volume. So I think people use the use cases for using an AI, right, a large language model like a ChatGPT or a Gemini, are far more nuanced than the use cases for using a search engine, right? Those are reasoning engines, and this is a search engine. So for people to assume that Google as a discovery platform is dead, I think that's very premature, because as I said, the volume, the data speaks for itself. I mean, how much is 3 billion into 12, right? 36 billion prompts or searches a year on ChatGPT versus 5 trillion on Google worldwide. So the numbers speak for themselves. I think what is different though is one of the points that was made earlier, which is around the fact that click-through rates are dropping because you have the AI overviews, etc., coming up. So I think that is, so the impressions are going up. So search volume is huge, but the click-through rates are dropping. I think that is something that brands will have to grapple with. Yeah, I just thought I'll mention that. Sorry, Mukil, please take it up, continue.
Yeah, and Mukil, I think if you could also bring in a perspective of how you're viewing tofu at your organization itself, right? Like that'll be helpful for the audience.
So I think on the tofu end specifically, what we saw was the search volumes dropping definitely, at least over the last 2 to 3 months. And that's the same case for most of the companies out there who have been investing heavily on top of the funnel content. But if you ask me if Google is dead, I wouldn't say that it's dead yet, because we are still seeing traffic coming in through Google searches. And the fundamentals of SEO is still there, right? So it still applies for the AI world as well, where what is the quality of the content that you're delivering, and how is it actually helping out your prospects who are looking out for, let's say, the awareness or consideration, whatever stage they might be in. I think the quality of the content still matters irrespective of SEO or AISO. And while the top of the funnel traffic is decreasing, we are also seeing a linear growth in the LLM traffic, which means that some of the traffic that we are losing with Google, we are able to slightly recover that with LLM. And that's where, again, the whole AI SO part comes in, right? So for any top of the funnel queries, even in Google search, they have the AI summarizer today. So they don't need to go in and click on links to consume information. So it's just on the summary and they can consume it more. But for very nuanced questions or very nuanced pieces, I think that's where the quality of the content that we are writing comes into place, which will both rank on Google and LLMs. So I think how I see this is, yes, we need to continue to invest in SEO and optimize things for Google search. But at the same point in time, we also need to start optimizing content for AI. And along with it, while doing all these things, we should not forget about the fundamentals of content marketing in itself, which is the quality and what we are writing for whom and why should that be relevant. The relevancy matters a lot in these times.
I think also I want to bring up a point where I think Veda can add more to this. That is in terms of creating and getting content as opposed to now if you were to co-create it giveaway. What are your thoughts on that when it comes to how AI is changing the way people are collaborating and working on things?
Is that for me?
Yeah.
Sanjay? I think one of the biggest areas, I think, within marketing where AI is playing a role is in terms of, I think, obviously content creation. That's being completely disrupted, both written content and visual content. I think there is a huge shift. I think the other space where there is a lot of impact is in the entire space of ideation. Right? Think of these large language models as some of the smartest people you ever know. Like an Einstein or a Bill Gates or an Elon Musk, but they know nothing about you or the company or the organization. So you need to give it that particular context. So they are very good with regards to using them as a sounding board for creating that initial long list of, say, a campaign idea, and then you coming in to refine it, providing that business nuance and business context and creating that refined shortlist. So one, content creation. Second is ideation. And the third space where AI is playing a big role, which I'm sure all of us as marketers are seeing this play out, is in terms of any job literally that has a lot of grunt work involved, which is especially in the space of ad operations, where there is a lot of impact of AI, be it the Facebook ad manager, Google, AdWords ad manager. You're seeing AI play a big role. You create a few ad copies with a certain, descriptions and titles, in Google, within AdWords. AI has the ability to create multiple permutations and combinations. Using multiple combinations of the descriptions and the titles. I think that is, again, another interesting area where AI is playing a big role. Now, and on Google search, I think we already spoke about this point number 2, right? I still think that search is super relevant. I think a lot of the statements around Google search being dead are grossly exaggerated. Like I said, right? 5 trillion versus 36 billion. The numbers speak for themselves. However, what is changing is the discovery patterns. While people are still searching significant multiples higher on Google search compared to large language models, that's not translating into traffic for brands. I think that is something that brands need to address. Invest more in brand building and not just rely on search as being the primary traffic engine. Search is, I think, will just turn out to be a discovery engine and a brand reinforcement engine. I think they need to invest more in other channels to make sure that they're able to build their brand. I think that will be critical.
I would love to add to this fact that you should and this especially goes for all the founders who are here, that you have to move from the mindset of just creating content on your website. Like you have to be consistent on your product review website, G2, Capterra, Trustpilot, and that. And you have to create content personally, like all the founders out there. Let me tell it from the bottom of my heart that you have to create content on LinkedIn, because when the buyer is trying to buy something, they are like I think Sanjay was showing one slide where he was explaining how the sales funnels have changed. Right now, the buyer is not just coming on the website to understand your product. They are going on ChatGPT on your website, these review websites, product review website, and your LinkedIn as well, and not just product buyers. All the VCs as well are going to your LinkedIn to understand your story. And let me tell you how big thing it could be for your own business. That LinkedIn right now has 1.1 billion users. Like the number sounds too big to be true, but like it is what it is. So like be rest assured that everyone who you are trying to sell is there on LinkedIn, and at some point they are going to visit your website. So like just uh, take it on you and spend some time, and don't outsource things straight away like initially, and try to create authentic authoritative content around like on LinkedIn. And you can talk about like very general things. What excites you about your product? What motivates you to keep building? What you learned about your market? What are your failures? What are your success? Right? You don't have to create an artificial aura. It could be as natural. People are, you know, done reading AI generated content that is very badly edited. So yes, use AI, but tell your own story. Like use it to refine it, but the story has to be yours. Yeah.
And I think that's a great segue into saying like what does the yin and yang between volume versus quality, right? Now even a single person can start doing multiple things and create a large amount of content that can be used. And Mukul, where do you see this volume and quality game playing out as a whole?
Yeah, I think that has massively changed over the last 6 to 9 months, I would say. So previously it was around, hey, let's push 100, 200 tofu pieces, look into the traffic, look into the search rankings, keep optimizing, and then refresh the content after 2-3 months. The same thing happened with middle and bottom of the funnel content, right? So I think that whole gameplay is failing now. And all the companies that are struggling with the drop in traffic, who are unable to recover fast, I think all of them are doing the same things. Even I used to do the same, set of processes to beat my current company, previous companies as well. But that whole model is failing now, and quantity doesn't matter at all now. It's going to be, hey, publish 10 pieces, but make sure that those 10 pieces are like super good quality, right? And the second part to that is the content that's coming in from your proprietary data, right? For example, Resume writing something about payments in India, right? That are proprietary to their platform, and then publishing it outside. Or maybe Zluri, we launched an AI report very recently, right? So that the data for that report came in from our own products. So I think these type of content pieces are very, very interesting, because this is something that's not available elsewhere on Google or any other communities or platforms, right? So these are like super, super interesting, and they attract your ICPs as well at the end of the day, right? So I think that's the second part. Third part is more, and I think that's more adjacent to what Veda and Pankaj covered for the previous question, right? I think Reddit is one of the platforms which is the most human to do. And now everybody is going and starting to, bank on Reddit. They're starting to answer questions. They're trying to generate traffic out of Reddit, right? So if you look at the pattern that's coming out, the authenticity and the relevance and the quality of the content that you're generating is the highest priority at this point in time. It doesn't matter about how many pieces of content that you're releasing. So that's my take on the whole volume or quantity versus quality debate.
Yeah, thanks, Mukul, for that. I think that was really helpful. And also in terms of let's talk more on what content formats and distribution strategies are working in that aspect, if you were to talk, and how founders can go about it as well. I think Pankaj,
Okay, sorry.
is that something that you could cover?
Sure. So Yeah, and before we get into the jargon, that you have to distribute things, and I think we have covered that already. I want to
Right.
make a point to all the founders that you have to be satisfied with the fact that you cannot attribute everything right now, like as simple as that. You have to create content, you have to distribute on different places, but there is no way to attribute, and you have to understand it for your marketing team as well. Like you cannot keep pressing them to just tell them what is the source of this lead, right? It is possible that maybe one of your buyers read your post on LinkedIn. Maybe they went on G2 and then they searched your brand, your product by your brand's name, right? So when you are trying to attribute it in Google Search Console or analytics, it is going to be shown as branded keyword traffic, right? But all the entire thing that happened in the background, there is no way to measure that. It has been the truth in the past as well, but it is becoming more and uh, more clear and such a bitter truth that you cannot attribute everything, and you have to be satisfied with the fact. Does that mean you have to limit yourself in content formats? For example, I would give a very it seems like I'm advocating for LinkedIn, but the truth is people are going to interact with your LinkedIn and they are not going to take any sort of action there in most of the cases, even for the ads that you are running, right? It is possible that they don't interact with your ads at all, but they are going to search about you, learn about you, and then come back to buying the product that you're saying. Right? So, variety in content formats and distribution is the key to succeed and even survive at this time.
Yeah, that's definitely there. And when it comes to how teams are trained on this, now they need to understand, like, okay, this is how we work towards it, maybe in a larger setup. And how do they start strategizing? Is that something, what do you think, how internal teams need to strategize around this front? And
I
even
think
in terms of them learning as well, like, what is the whole uh, how do they prioritize learning at the same time implementing while they are in the process?
I don't think I think it's a non-negotiable, right? I think being skilled in AI is a non-negotiable in the kind of times that we live in. And I think the onus is on the leaders to, set an example. And be the first to actually adopt AI. I think that's super critical in organizations. So if I'm the leader, I need to be the first to actually show that I'm using AI tools. If you're having a conversation, that's true across organizations, right? And once I start using, I have the ability to, for example, let's say I'm having a difficult conversation as usual with somebody in tech who says that it's going to take a week to have a landing page out. I know that using AI tools, I can get it out in 10 minutes. There's no reason why it should take that, 1 week. I think there is a need for, while training is the onus is on the individual, I think the onus is also on organizations and the leaders to lead by example. For example, if I need to send a mass mailer out, right, I can use a tool like N89, N8N, and send it out really quickly. There's no reason I can set up a quick workflow and I can send it out within minutes. It works so beautifully. And so a lot of these AI tools, the way they have short circuited a lot of previously assumed, time durations has made a lot of people question the status quo. The onus is on the leadership and it is on the individual to make sure that whatever is the relevant area that they are working on, they try to figure out how AI can help them do that better, do that faster, do that smarter. I think that's that's my opinion, at least, on training.
And you mentioned about N8N. We have Mukul who will be sharing some nice workflows built out, I think, later on the session. With continuing on that, I just wanted to see, what do you think of the success you have seen with like AI written content, AI assisted content, and how is that more impactful, or like any anecdotes from your experience so far?
I mean, it's very difficult to know. I mean, now the algorithms are getting better. And if there is a piece of content, which I think AI driven content has a few telltale signs, I think people are beginning to spot what is AI driven versus human created content. But if you go by the principle of how generative AI works, AI driven content is supposed to be almost as good as human content because it thinks like how a human brain reasons, because it uses neural networks. It is not control C, control V. It's not a search engine. All of these are reasoning engines, and they create content which is generated for the first time in human history. Just like if a human being wanted to research a topic and create some content, he or she might research 10 different sources of information. The AI engine has access to probably 100,000 pieces of information which are relevant, and it creates its own point of view. So if you were to use a Write Sonic or a Jasper Jasper AI to create AI-driven content, and if you don't like it, you can ask it to recreate, and it will create net new content. So I think the plagiarism threat, I don't think is there. But however, with AI, I think it's going to be an interesting battle to see which does better, because the Google algorithms are also getting better and better. And if there is something which is a complete copy paste from a ChatGPT and pasted, I think they do have, I think signals are emerging that the Google algorithm is not taking that too kindly. So I think what brands need to do is take that as the first raw, really good first draft, right? That's how they should view it as, right? The output which is given, and they need to apply that business context, business nuance, bring in that human layer, on top of that AI output. Direct copy paste, from a plagiarism perspective, it's not a problem, but I'm given to understand that the Google algorithm is beginning to flag completely AI-driven output. Having said that, the LLMs are also getting better. I think soon it will be very difficult to even distinguish what is AI created versus human created. Right now, there are in tone, in terms of word choice, usage, etc. A lot of the LinkedIn posts that you see, for example, it's very obvious they're AI written, right? But I think the AI algorithms will also start getting better. So I think the next 12 months is going to be interesting to see, right? Because the Google algorithms are getting better, search ranking algorithms. The AI algorithms for content creation are also getting better. We'll have to see which gets better faster.
Yeah, I think in terms of content, as you said, sometimes it's very much relevant that, and you see, this must be AI written. You feel that when you read through it. But if you were to talk about the internal processes and the AI we've been using internally at companies, Mukul, what do you think? How do you differentiate between signal and noise there? With content, in a way, we are able to, but not at a higher scale. But when it comes to different other use cases of AI that we have been implementing, how do you differentiate between signal versus noise there?
I think, at least in terms of content, coming back to the AI generated content, we are yet to experiment with like 100% AI generated content, because currently it's mostly with human in the loop, where AI is helping us with different parts of the content generation journey, right? So, and one thumb rule, at least on the content end, is that the draft should be relevant to prospect, and that should solve some pain point that they are experiencing, or that should answer some questions that they have, right? So if it's just a generic piece, then it's not going to work, right? So an example here is, most of the companies used to have a glossary as a part of their SEO efforts, all of the what is content, right? Hey, what is this, what is that, etc. And they used to be the primary driver of traffic to their web pages. But today, that whole program is failing because nobody thinking about it. So, and even the LLM answers that are coming out, it's not linked. So I think one from signal versus noise, I think it needs to solve some pain for our prospects from a content perspective. But apart from that, there are like so many applications, agents, companies that are building on top of AI. And so we evaluate a lot of these AI tools. I mean, before we explored N8N, we used to evaluate a lot of other tools for multiple use cases, be it ops, be it product marketing, etc. I think most of them were, I wouldn't say most, but majority of them didn't deliver value. They were, I mean, I could have done that same job with ChatGPT, right? So I think the whole signal versus noise, I'm just using value as a proxy for signal here. So the value that we generating, whatever that we are evaluating to bring it in, they need to deliver value at the end. And this can be in any means. It can be a really good dashboard that's coming out of an unstructured data or a table. That can be something that solves or cuts down the time that my team member spends on an activity, right? So I think value and then tie it up with your productivity and efficiency goals. I think 3 angles that we look into whenever we try to bring something with AI, or when we try to, deliver something or anything at the end of the day, because that's gonna be relevant. Whatever changes that happen, whatever updates that come in, and Veda mentioned, models are getting better and better with every single new model that's getting released. The output that we are getting is it's very hard to distinguish between a human written and an AI written content piece, even with images as well. So as this is going to get better only, right? So it's not a downhill from here, it's gonna be uphill from here. So I think how companies are going to navigate this space, right? And everybody's figuring it out, right? So nobody is like 100% there yet. All of us are figuring it out. All of us are trying a lot of things. All of us are looking into the metrics. We are trying to adjust for AI, SO, etc. So at the end of the day, the value delivery matters, and the productivity matters, and the efficiency matters. So these are the 3, I would say, metrics or proxies that I would look into if I need to distinguish between signal versus noise. And it's very easy to figure it out. If you're in marketing for quite some time, if you work with multiple tools, it's super easy to figure out what delivers value or what brings in value and what won't do that at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think by the time we figure out on the best tech stack for marketing, and it comes with a lot of experimentation for sure. But I'm sure we'll all get there one day, and we do another webinar on the same. This is the tech stack we built out. So yeah, I'd want to bring up Pankaj. Pankaj, what do you think in terms of like the content itself, right? Like how has it changed from being generic now to becoming more focused, and how are you like making it more focused as you write more and more?
So one tip that I want to give to all the founders here is that stop asking your marketers whether this content is AI generated or not, because no one cares. As simple as that. Google doesn't care. Social media platforms don't care. In fact, if you go to Instagram, it actually encourages you to create reels or post using AI, right? So no one cares. You have to ask right questions whether the content is good or bad. There are 2 types of content: good or bad. I think it's very difficult to come to a number, but I think right now you have to use AI in your content production. And if you're not using it, you are hurting yourself. If you're like, if you're taking 2 weeks to, just create a blog, and you're publishing, 2 blogs per month, you're hurting yourself, because the word is not waiting for you. Word is moving at its pace, and probably much faster than it ever has. So the word is not waiting for you. The questions that you have to answer, ask, is whether the created content is good or not. And yeah, the point I was trying to make is that there is no absolute number, but I think the ratio should be at around somewhere between 70 and 30%, right? 70% use AI, 30% it has to be human intervened. The idea should come from you, the core message should come from you, positioning should come from you, and the quality check has to be done by you. Like, you have to ensure that the content that you are putting out, any random person reading on the internet, or sorry, not random person, but your target audience will be able to make out of it, something they will be able to take out of it. If you are not able to consume the content that you are creating, you cannot expect your audience to engage with it. As simple as that. And you have to utilize these AI tools, not to just write. Like, let me make it very clear: when we talk about content production and content delivery, we at times just think about written content in forms of blogs and social media, but you have to also think about different social media platforms and the kind of content that they are promoting. For example, if you are writing a blog, you can create carousels out of that and publish them over LinkedIn, right? You can create shorts out of that, put them on YouTube, put them on Instagram, put them on Reddit, wherever your audience is, right? If you are not doing that, if you are relying on just one particular channel, just one particular content form, and you are living behind this holier than the thou attitude that no, we don't use AI in our content, I'm sorry to say that the world is not waiting for you, that the world is moving too fast, and in some time it is possible that the entire marketing strategy of yours become obsolete if you're not doing that. I'm sorry to be that blunt, but it is what it is.
Thanks, Pankaj, for that. And I know Mukul took some time out and built out a really great workflow on NN, and I think over to you, Mukul, for showing that. And while you talk about it, I'll encourage the audience to go over and in the chat just comment yes, and we'll bring you on stage. Right after this, we are going to do a quick Q&A with the panel here. Over to you, Mukul.
Thanks, Sanjay. Yeah, I'll keep it quick since we're running short of time. So folks, I think this is a workflow that's still in progress. I've been building it in my own personal account. We are yet to get onto a paid account with N8N. So what this does is the sheet that you see on the left end, right? So that's just the input that we are getting. And the overall workflow, what this typically does is it'll get information from our product team with respect to any product releases, product launches, feature updates, bug fixes, etc., etc. And then we will update that information on the specific sheet. And then once the sheet is updated, it'll get automatically pulled into different LLM prompt through which we will the content. So some of the blogs that you see there, we have blog posts, we have social posts, we have videos, we have sales scripts, demo flows. Then I think we had one or two more. I can't exactly recollect at this point in time. So that's what this does. And the middle flow that you see, right, the complete flow. So that's one of the completed flows in this overall N8N workflow. The rest of them are yet to be completed. So what this does is once or any AI model gives me the output, it's a very unstructured output. It's not ready to be published. So what the next 2 to 3 nodes would do is it will clean up output, put it in the right manner, spacings, etc. It will convert it into like PDF for a Google Docs. That's not workflow. That's why I have whatever I have written in it. Those are all the enhancements that. But what this does is it will clean up and put it into a good format, just like a Google Doc or a PDF, and then it will push this document into Slack for human approval. So this will get into a Slack channel. We have internal, and there will be a message coming up saying, "Hey, there's a new content for your approval. Do you want to approve, or you need to click on this?" So once someone clicks on approve, that's where the branch that goes towards the up, right, the last nodes on the right hand. It's the flow that gets once clicks on the approve button. So what that does is it typically gets me the content piece that we generated, the PDF for the Google Doc file, and then that will be emailed to specific recipients. Now, instead of email, I can directly into my CMS like Webflow or WordPress, etc. And for all the other nodes where you have image creation, video creation, etc., we can bring in external tools. We can connect Figma, we can connect any other tools, bring in the style guide, and then complete this workflow. So currently, only that blog post flow is completely working, and we are trying to build the rest of them so that I think Veda mentioned some time back, right? So it's going to take 5 to 10 minutes for me to generate like 6 to 7 content pieces from a single product update information. So level of flexibility and efficiency AI is going to bring in at the end of the day. And in this, we can also bring in SEO optimization, AI optimization, so forth. So it's a very expandable channel where, platform where you can bring in as many nodes as possible. And at the end of the day, you can do whatever you want. You can give whatever input you want. You can get whatever output out of it, and then publish it, send it across an email, and so on and so forth. So I think it's limitless at this point in time. Yeah, that's pretty much it from my end.
Awesome. Thank you so much for building this out, Mukul. And I think it was really a way where I felt that it was much more easier for me to do a lot more things, right? Like if I have to go and build out a workflow, learn things, and it is I'll be much more quicker than I was before. So yeah, I'm sure that's how the audience think as well. Now I'll just open up for Q&A. If anyone has any questions, feel free to just bring yes on the chat, and I can bring you on stage here for the questions. Or if you prefer to put it on Q&A, please feel free to do that as well. I see a question here right now. I'll start projecting that first, and you must be able to see. So in terms of creating shorts out of a blog, how would one do that? Any more guidance on that? So are there any tools?
So there
or
are certain
anything that,
tools out there, Aditi. But the best one that I have found so far is Stew.ai. So they are basically a text to video sort of AI generator tool, but they have this explicit feature on their website. If I can put this link here if you want. So what it does is, you can put your entire blog as prompt here, and as a second step, it will give you a screenplay kind of script of a video, and you can trim down and make it as short or as big as you want. You can control the quality and how you want it to look. You can take it from there and publish it. Just like any other AI tool, it takes time to learn and adapt, right? You'll have to train it for a while, but I'm pretty sure once you create like 3 or 4 videos and you publish it and you get feedback from your own team and your audience, after I think 4 or 5 videos, it should like flow like a breeze. Like you can create as many shots as you want from one particular blog or anything as said.
Thanks for that, Pankaj. I see another question here. Just a moment. I'll project it. Link for the tool. Okay, it's on the chat, Isha. I was want to present another one. So, okay. How can we improve our SEO efforts apart from creating more content using tools like N8N? Who don't want to take that?
I think I can take that up. So, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, the fundamentals of SEO remains the same, right? So what is the quality of the content that you're generating? One caveat there is it's not just Google anymore. You need to be on Reddit. You need to expand across different formats, like let's say YouTube or any other platforms where your ICPs are hanging out today. So that's much more needed at this point in time. You can't rely on just a single channel for getting the results. But apart from that, the foundations remain the same. The quality of the content, the relevance of the content, and is it actually driving or deriving value to your readers? So that's what matters at the end of the day. And no change there. But you need to expand. You need to find innovative ways to put out that content, because like everybody is generating content today, right? And there is like an overload of content that's happening. So I think on the SEO end, just stick to the fundamentals and also make sure you optimize or be active on platforms like Reddit. Repurpose your content, just like the previous question, right? So repurpose your content across different platforms. Yeah, I think that should be sufficient. And then the other part is try to generate as much proprietary content as possible. That is the content that can be generated out of the data that you have in your product, that very specific insights that you have about your ICPs or the problems that you're solving for, that are not available outside, right? So I think those type of content really works out, and it becomes an instant hit among your ICPs. You need not think like very large white papers, etc. It can be even a small video or a small podcast series for that matter, right? So I think that's how you need to expand across SEO, but the SEO fundamentals and foundations are still working, and they still apply for today's world.
I would add to it. I would say answer real questions, and what I mean by that is that I will take a clue from Veda's playbook that they were trying to do, and they were trying to answer certain questions about which even the audiences were not aware, right? So they had to utilize certain other brands and certain other products, and try to answer those questions. What I would encourage you to go and check out Reddit, go and check out Quora, or other communities specific to your niche and industry, and figure out the kind of questions that they are answering. The kind of questions that they are asking, right? And answer those questions on the website instead of going after search volumes that, hey, this particular search term brings us 1,000 search volume a month, it's of no use if it cannot bring you business. But once you go to the users, and on Reddit, people are very human, right? They ask about very basic things in life to very technical things in life, right? So you have to find your way into those communities, find those questions, figure out those questions, and answer those questions on your website, and do your entire SEO around that. I understand that maybe those particular blogs and content pieces bring you maybe 10 or 20 visitors on a monthly basis, but the kind of quality that they bring and the kind of conversion that you are going to see is going to be much higher. I think we were earlier discussing noise and signals, right? So that kind of falls in that category. So you have to be you have to adapt how things are changing, and this is one way to go about that.
Thanks for jumping in there, and for answering that as well. I know we are at the end of the session. We'll take just a couple of questions and 265, if that's okay. I see a great question here, and the number of times I've been pinged about, can we exchange backlinks? Is I don't know. I don't have an answer to that, but yeah, is backlinks still a signal for LLM, or what do you think is the authority signal right now?
It's one of the signals for sure. But I would say you don't have to worry a lot about backlinks. In fact, Google has also moved, Google has like 200 metrics that it uses to check the authority of a particular website, and LLMs have even more than that. Right? So backlinks is definitely one of them, but it's not the most crucial one. Your authority, your accuracy is more important than backlinks. So yeah, prioritize backlinks, but it shouldn't be like your whole strategy shouldn't revolve around backlinks.
Veda or Mukul, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think on the backlinks and specifically with LLMs, what we are hearing from the market, we are yet to implement it. But what we are hearing is that so LLMs crawl through the content at a surface level. It might not care about the links, but how does the result show up for a specific prompt or query, right? We have ways to control that today, where there are like multiple companies coming up that are building tools to look into the visibility of your company on LLMs. And within those tools, you can also get information on where your competitors are also getting their visibility on LLMs. So a simple thing that they ask us to do is, hey, if there are any listing websites there, for example, like G2 or Captra or any other listicle article that's showing up on that LLM result, they just ask us to go and get ourselves listed on those pages. No links. It's just add that specific content. And the same with our own web page as well. They just give us some information on, hey, try to add this content to one of your web pages. That's it. And then we are able to see those results instantly. So while backlinks as such, I'm not sure how helpful that is in the LLM era, but since it's a surface level search that's happening, or that's how LLMs are operating, you need your content on relevant pages or relevant articles for you to show up on LLMs. And there are ways to track that today with all these companies that are building to give you visibility about your company and your competitors. What are the prompts for which we are showing up, and what are the sources through which LLMs are pulling in data? So that will be very valuable for any company today.
I know we're over time. First of all, great question. I think it depends on multiple factors. I think in general, I think it matters lesser in a large language model when compared to Google search, given that is a search engine. But I think quality matters here. And I'd like some of the other panelists said, I think context and nuance matters that much more. It's also a function of the search. I'll give you an example. Let's say if you had to search for pricing consultancy firms, organizations, pricing consultancy brands across the world. Just this is a query, right? And you want a list, right? It will give you a bunch of names. It will give you Simon-Kucher, it will give you McKinsey, BCG, Bain, etc. But if you ask it a nuanced question on which is the best pricing consulting brand in the world, give me an answer. In all likelihood, I'm not saying this because I am from Simon-Kucher. It actually says, you can check it out. It says Simon-Kucher, despite a lot of the other big four having significantly higher overall brand and in terms of overall volume of backlinks that they have, right? McKinsey has been around for more than 100 years, or close to 100 years, if I'm not wrong. So they've been around for a long time. Despite that, Simon-Kucher, within that niche, the fact that it does some stellar work, the LLMs are able to grab that context from the search and from the information that's available in the internet that it's been trained on. So it's not just a function of quantity of backlinks for a deep question. If I'm asking it a deep question, right, which is the best one? Tell me that. So I think that's important, but it's a great question regardless, Vimla. Thanks for asking this.
We have just one question out here. I'm sure we can't cover that. Like it's a broad question, but for if you were to go around the table and just tell one thing that comes to your mind, well, when it comes to SEO, what is that? Just one word. Maybe a quick rapid fire that way. Mukul, what do you think? Well, okay, yeah. Pankaj, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let's jump in.
Quality, accuracy, and authority. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buyer moments of truth, right? To me, that's what is important. Focus on that.
Yeah, I think relevancy and addressing the pain points.
Awesome. I think that was a great end to the overall live session here. Thank you all the panelists for joining in. It was really insightful for me, and I'm sure for the audience, it was really great. We'll follow up with the recording link and give you some more context as well. Our team will work on that. And once again, thank you all for joining in, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.